She asks about the success rate of the 11.07, and that is an excellent question. I would say, just doing Google search or looking on the Texas courts websites, it appears that the success rate of a writ being granted is about 3.5%, which doesn't sound good, right? Because, we tell clients this a lot too, that once you are convicted, each step you take, whether direct appeal, if that's denied, and then you go to a PDR, maybe that's refused, and then maybe you go all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, that's refused, then you file an 11.07 writ of habeas corpus. You have already been through multiple steps where courts have said no. So at the 11.07 point, you are looking for constitutional arguments that you can make that establish to the Court of Criminal Appeals that your rights were violated, that you deserve either a new trial or a new sentencing trial, and that's tough to do, right? We've seen it in the videos that we put out there. It's an uphill battle. Overturning convictions is tough. So 3.5% success rate is really not that surprising. And that's just for writs to be granted. Typically, just because it's granted doesn't mean you're going to get relief. An 11.07 can be granted and you're granted a new trial. That means you're placed back at that point you were when you were first charged. So you're at that same place, and then negotiations can happen with the state again. So you can talk to the state about maybe a new plea deal or a more favorable plea deal. Maybe you can go to trial again. That's a really big risk to take, but it is a possibility once a writ is granted and you're granted a new trial. But a lot of our clients, they don't want to have a new jury trial. It is about that negotiation with the state and to see if you can get a new sentencing trial or a more favorable plea bargain. I'll just give an example of one of our cases. It was actually Morgan Walker's case where she did get a new sentencing trial granted, and the judge lessened the sentence. So instead of 13 years, our client got 9 years, was eligible for parole much sooner than he would have been otherwise, and we did his parole packet, and he was released on parole late last year, and the rest is history. He would still be in prison right now if his 11.07 wouldn't have been successful and he got a new sentencing trial. So that's the way it works. I say 3.5%, which sounds kind of depressing, but it does work, and it can work to file 11.07s.